So this is a cardboard box from a washing machine that we just purchased, but you could use any box that's big enough to hold your chicks. This particular box is 45 inches long, 28 inches wide, and I cut it in half so that halfway through, if it gets really soiled, I can switch it to the other one. So it's 14 inches tall. I think that should give me enough room that they can't jump out, but I might end up putting chicken wire over the top once they're able to jump and fly a little bit better. So you can use all types of things for chicken bedding. Pine shavings, newspaper, shredded cardboard, leaves. But from what I've read is that pine shavings are the easiest, readily available. They do what they're supposed to do, they soak up any excess moisture. I haven't had any experience with any of the other things. This is the tried and true method, so that's what we're doing here. About 1.5 to 2 inches of shavings covered over the whole thing should be good to start. And then we'll just come in and add more when we need, or if we want to do a toe replacement, then we'll just kind of play it by ear, I guess. This is our first time doing this, so you can learn with us. Or maybe you guys can teach us something that we don't know. These are the large flakes because the small ones, you get a real fine dust over everything if you use a smaller flake. And I guess the chicks like to eat them too, so this will maybe keep them from eating too much of it. Just making sure it's all broke up. And this is just a 8 cubic feet compressed bale. We'll see how much I use so you have an idea. That looks pretty good to start. I didn't even put a dent in this bag. I would guess I used maybe a cubic foot of the 8 cubic feet, if that helps. Alright, I'm going to get the heat plate set up on one end over here, I think. And then put the feed and water on the other end so that the water's not anywhere near the electrical stuff, and kind of space the feed away so they're not soiling up either one or the other when they're at each feeder. So this heat plate is from Premier One, but there's other places that you can get them. If you have a local feed store, sometimes they have them. But it's got a thermostat on it, which we haven't used this yet, but we've tested it to make sure that it works. And you can adjust the temperature based on the age of your chicks. So the older they are, the higher you raise the plate and the lower the temperature gets. So we're gonna plug this in and start getting warm. We want the plate to be at the height of the back of the chicks, so not so low that they can't get under it and not so high that they don't feel comfortable underneath of it. So it looks like right now we only have about an inch. We're gonna go up probably halfway on this adjustable rod and let it start heating up, and then once the chicks get here we'll reevaluate where it's at, and if we need to raise and lower it, then we can do that. I should probably raise this up before I even plug it in because it's pretty low. And on the bottom of this there's little push pins that we can push and raise these pegs up. And with the markings you can get them pretty even. Let's see what this looks like. It is kind of going down into the shavings too, so it's more or less sitting on the cardboard underneath. That looks pretty good right there, about halfway on its peg. And you might be wondering what this clear piece is for. It actually holds a little bit of the heat in, but mostly if a chick would jump up here it would slide off. It wouldn't be able to roost on top of the heat plate, so hopefully it'll keep it a little bit cleaner. So I have the plate on max to heat up, and there's a red light over here that shows that it's on and it's heating up. Another piece of optional equipment that you may want is this digital thermometer, or just a regular thermometer would probably work. But we'll be able to tell exactly the temperature underneath this heat plate with this thermometer. We can just point the laser, I don't know if you can see the laser, point it underneath and even flip it up and on the actual plate what the temperature is, so we know that it's the temperature that we want for the chicks. So not totally necessary, but takes all the guesswork out of it. So the next thing we're gonna do here is put in our feed, and we opted to get a larger 7-pound feeder because we're going to be using these out in our actual coop. We have room in here, I think, for them, and instead of buying a chick feeder and then an adult chicken feeder, we eliminated the need for that. We can use it here and there, so I think that makes more sense. This is available at any Farm and Fleet store. Yeah, so we're going to fill that up with chick starter. Here's another tip. You've probably seen this before, but if you have a small milk jug, half gallons work good. This is actually from a larger bulk honey container. But what I did was just cut it in half and then cut a V-groove around it. Makes a really nice feed scoop. We're all for repurposing things around here. We are in our basement, so we have a little bit of moisture issue on the floor. We don't like keeping our feed sitting on the floor. We don't want it soaking anything up, so we put it in a separate bucket. You can put it in a metal can with a lid if you have a rodent issue, but I'm gonna go with this until we have a problem. I think we'll be okay. But on the bag there's a little string you want to pull. Don't make a mess out of your bag. tie it all up, you can actually reuse these bags for other things. Like I said, we're all about repurposing things, but this is what we're using to, it's what's available to us. It's a Neutrina starter grower. It's real ground up, but that's what it looks like. It actually smells not that bad, so I don't even know how to describe it. Not that bad. I guess I should add, if you open a bag of feed and it has kind of a pungent odor to it, it could be spoiled. Don't feed it to your new chicks, it could be catastrophic. So they could get sick off of it. So just gonna fill this up. It looks like it's coming out the base really good, so that's good. Probably only gonna go about halfway, just in case. I don't want to waste feed. I can always add more. We'll make sure it's always available to them, but made sure that in case something would get in there, that it doesn't spoil 7 pounds of feed. I'd rather lose 3.5 pounds than 7 pounds. So this is the same brand feeder or water as the feeder from Country Road, same store. And it's a little bit different how you fill it. You fill it upside down, add the base, and then flip it over. And the vacuum of the water inside will keep it from just rushing out. But we're gonna fill that up and then put it in here. We have to go upstairs to fill it up. As they get a little bit older, we don't want them up in the feeder. We'll have to get something to raise the feeder up off the ground to try to keep it as clean as possible. And like this is pretty close together, so we might have to move one over here a little bit farther. I think they can still get around pretty good to try to keep it as clean as possible, but that's the learning curve. We just have to figure it out as we go. Like we might have to put the heat plate a little more in the corner like this. We want the water away from any electrical, so I have to put this over here and the water over here. Like that looks pretty good. There's quite a bit of space between the two, so we shouldn't have to worry about poop going into the water container. That's what we don't want, so that looks pretty good. I can stick my hand up in here. I can actually put my hand on the plate. So that's what I like about the plates. The fire hazard of a bulb is not what I'm interested in. This I can touch, so unless there would be some sort of electrical short, which I highly doubt, the heat plate should be just fine. Where if a heating bulb would fall on these wood chips, somehow it could start a fire, and we don't want a fire. So not only that, but the bulbs are high wattage. They're 250 watts, where this I believe is 50 watts, so we should save on our electric bill also. This is a little bit more of an investment to begin with, but you weigh the cost. What's your house worth? So, or if you do this in your barn, what's your barn worth? I don't know. It's up to you. So we got a gallon of water. We added a couple capfuls of Bragg's apple cider vinegar with the mother in it for digestive health. Alright, we're back from the store. We got 8 chicks. Pretty scared, I think. See some light in here. So who are these guys? Very gentle. Give them a little drink of water. What was that one, Jess? You remember? Amber link?
Yeah, amber link.
Amber link. A little drink of water. This one was a cinnamon. Take a drink. Cinnamon something, wasn't it? You get a drink? Yeah, you got a drink. And there was 2 barred rock. Up. What were the other? Oh, silver laced wine dots. Come on, come on. Good drink. Hey, looks like they found the feeder already. A little bit of kind of scary ride. Well, looks like they're right at home. Found the feed. Let's see if they like this heat plate. That one's got pasty black already, it looks like. See it? We have to take care of that. Well, I think we're satisfied. Everybody seems to have found the heat plate and they're nodding off underneath there, so we'll be back with an update.